Next one. Do you know of any good real social signal services? No, unfortunately, no. And I know what you're asking. Fancy Mind says, not spam bot accounts, but something we can use to get real relevant shares, tweets, etc. for blog posts or money site pages. The only thing I could think of is there are a few, what's it called? Triber? Yeah, this is probably one of them. There's another one that I know of too, but I can't think of the name of the top of my head. But Triber, this might work for you because these are real people and it's a network for sharing content and all of that. So you might want to try Triber with 2 R's. I know there's another, like I said, there's another service that was on AppSumo. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. And I don't know if it's still on AppSumo. I'll have to go see if I can find it, but I know there's another service that does something similar to this. But these are real people. This is not bots. I get what you're saying, by the way, and why you're asking this question, because, I did a test on this. I think it was in 2015. So it's been 8 years since I did a test on this, but I did a case study test in the mastermind for testing social signal services. And I tested like 5 different services and I did it over, I think maybe it might've been 6 weeks instead of 12 weeks, but it was a test that I did across several different properties. I tested different services and I found that there was no benefit from buying spam social signals. If you could get real social signals with 2-tiered signals, which means you get so what do I mean by that? Well, a social signal, like think about this, guys. If you publish a blog post on your site and you have social like counters and things like that, you can get a like, right? Like a Facebook like. That's a signal for that page, but it's a very minor signal. What's better is a share, a social share. So somebody grabs that URL or clicks the share button and then shares that URL on Facebook. That's like a backlink. It's a social share, but it's like a backlink. That is much more valuable than a like is to that on that post. Does that make sense? But now if you get a social share, so let's say that that post has now been shared on Facebook, and then that Facebook post, which is the shared URL, gets engagement. So comments and likes and that kind of stuff. Now that's a powerful social signals, right? Does that make sense? That share now gets engagement signals from that post on Facebook. And I'm just using Facebook as an example. Same goes with tweets or YouTube or anything else. If you can get a share and then get engagement on the social post, which is the shared page or blog post, that is an effective signal, much more effective than just straight up likes or tweets or even just shares that never get any engagement. So that's my point. I tested a bunch of different services and I found that purchasing social signals did nothing for SEO. And this was years ago. So I can't imagine that all of a sudden now getting likes is now going to help your SEO. Like if this was 8 years ago, I think it was 2015, it might've been 2016 or 17. But anyways, however long ago it didn't work back then. I can't imagine spam social signals now all of a sudden magically working. So I don't think it's even worth another test. But what I was saying was if you could get social shares and an engagement on those shares, that was effective. However many years ago it was that I did the test. And there was only, at the time, Triber didn't exist. I know I've had, this has been on my radar for like 2 years and I have not tested it. Just haven't had the time. But I think this would be worthy of testing. There was another one called, I don't know if I still have that. Yeah, this was the one that I used in the past, which I think was a Dan Anton product. And you can see how slow it's loading. It probably has not been maintained in years. My guess, this website has not changed in 7 years. Low, yeah, it's broke. So anyway,
I love the big 404 at the bottom.
Yeah, it's broke. It's broke. But this is what I had tested with for a while, which was again many years ago. And they did tiered social signals, but and this was a little bit more effective than just purchasing spam social signals because they were tiered. But like I said, the whole point is why I think Triber and things like this is because not only are you just going to get social signals, but you're going to get social signals from people that have an affinity for those topics. What does that mean? Well, an affinity is like an overall interest, a long-term interest in a particular topic, right? So that's the thing about like Triber is if you're getting real shares from real people that are interested in certain kinds of content, they have a history, a known affinity by Google. Trust me, Google knows this, that they're interested and that they engage regularly with content around that topic. And so now if you're getting social activity from those types of people, that that kind of a signal is weighted so much more heavy, or so much heavier, I should say, because Google understands that those are people that have an affinity, which is a known interest, a historical interest in that kind of topic, and they engage with that kind of stuff. So now that is a much better signal than just getting some random spam like or comment from some random profile out there that really has, that is, especially when they're spam profiles, you know that they're liking and commenting and engaging with all kinds of different content across all different kinds of topics because they're spam profiles, right? And that's not how most people typically behave, right? Natural behavior is people have certain things they're interested in and that they engage with regularly, which is what's called an affinity. And so like affinity audiences are great signals to get, or are great sources to get signals from. That makes sense. They're weighted much heavier that way, produce much more value. So anyways, I've not tested this, but it'd be worth testing. And if you do test it, please come back and let us know.